Hey guys, this is Eternum Knight, and welcome to my first ever first Berserker Khazan build video. And I don't know about you guys, but I am having a blast with this game. It's tough, it's flashy, it's smooth. The bosses are tough. This game is just everything that we need in a Souls-like game. So let's get right into it. As you can see, I am rocking the Daul Wield, Dual Blade build. I know there's a lot of content creators going great sword and spear, but I want to show you guys what you could do with the Daul Wield blades. So let's just start going over. I'm just going to show you what my status looks like at level 105. So we got 45 in health or vitality, 60 in endurance. You kind of want to max endurance. Or get endurance as high as possible, because you want to be spamming your skills all the time. So you could decrease the opponent's stamina or break their gauge, so you could brutal attack them. And then we got 36 in willpower, because willpower scales with the dual wield weapon type. And I don't put as much in the early game. Put as much vitality and endurance. Don't put so much into willpower. The reason why is because your weapon scales more as the level of the weapon gets higher, so your attack will scale a lot better. But every point into willpower, you gain an extra 3 attack. So save willpower for last, but what you want most is vitality and endurance. Let's go right into the skill tree, and what we're using is the Whirlwind build. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. So you guys could take a screenshot and copy it or whatever you want to do. But let's go over the skills. So we're mainly focusing on swift attacks. We don't care about the heavy potent blow attacks, so there's no points in there. So let's go with Whirlwind. So what Whirlwind does is that once you hit your quick attack, you're gonna hit your heavy attack, and you're gonna do this Whirlwind up in the air and down. And what is so good about this is that it's fast. It destroys. It breaks stamina fairly quickly, especially in bosses. And you can do other flashy things like increase the speed and do an extra attack, and then you could dodge again and redo the combo again. And on top of that, we're going to pair that with the Phantom Sword Dance. So as you're doing your Whirlwind, you're going to get your Phantom to do extra attacks. And what this looks like is we're going to proc it. I'm going to this. And then we're going to dodge. And we're going to... And then bam, and then you get brutal attacks. So that's pretty much one of the combos. There's other things you could do with this. So we're going to also, on top of Whirlwind, we're going to pair this with the Wind Piercer. This thing is godly. I was using Ruthless, and you could use that in the early game, because here you'll gain Unbreakable Poise, so even during bosses they won't stagger you out of this. However, I find this to be way better. And you can increase the duration when you get Wind Piercer Mark, which will add another additional spur charge. Now, so this is 2 spirit, and then this is 3 spirit when you use it. So that's already 5 spirit that you're using. So you're going to be chunking up your spirit quite a lot during these boss battles. So with the build that I'm going to show you, we're going to gain also spirit quickly as well. On top of that, we're going to go, after a sprint attack, you can use X or Y. This is good when we dodge. You'll go right into your light attack, and then you could proc Whirlwind right after the dodge light attack. Then we'll take some quality of life stuff like fleet-footed, decreased stamina cost of dodging. And then on top of that, Ironclad, decrease the amount of stamina consumed on a successful guard. We're going to be guarding a lot. More than dodging attacks, we use dodge to engage, and we use brink guarding to counter, and I'm going to show you why. We're also going to take blowback vengeance, because of what the gear we're going to use. We're going to gain a buff when we parry and then hit X after the brink guard. And then on top of that, to pair Wind Piercer and Whirlwind, we're going to take Flash Cutter. And what this is good for closing the gap between a far enemy, or you could use it to nullify incoming damage, and it'll activate as a counter strike when the boss or the enemy attacks you. In the initial start of the skill, you'll nullify the damage, and it'll activate a counter strike. And then on top of that, we'll take discipline, action, invincibility during dodges, and the duration. We're gonna also take wind/step, where if you're knocked down, you just hit X and you'll get right back up. It'll also cost 1 spirit. And then deafness, where increase the distance traveled while dodging. And nimble blitz. And then also under common, as you can see, you can take a screenshot of this. Of course, we're mastery level 48, so if you're at the lower tier side, I recommend max out Whirlwind, max out Phantom Sword Dance, max out Wind Piercer, max out Ironclad, Fleet-Footed, and Low Back Vengeance, and also Flash Cutter for your lower level mastery if you're around like the 20 mark. And then here we're gonna take gain 1 spirit when interacting with Lacrima, gain 1 spirit upon taking damage, or gain spirit upon taking damage, increase the amount of spirit gained upon performing a Bring Guard, and Berserk Spirit, increasing the amount of spirit gained when attacking. So these two, Bring Guarding and attacking, and of course when we take damage, if we take damage, we're gonna gain spirit. Then we're gonna go over here. We're gonna grab the 2 brutal attacks, or when you're in front of an enemy and behind an enemy or unsuspecting enemy. Take Javelin, because this thing is a beast, honestly. And you'll gain 1 spirit upon hitting an enemy weak point. And then we're going to grab all the counter attacks. And then I haven't put anything in the Phantom form. So that is the skill tree. And what I'll show you, what the rotation looks like. So you're going to activate the Phantom Tense. You're going to dodge in, light attack, to the Whirlwind, then go back in, and then you're gonna use your Wind Piercer, and then look at that, and then it'll stay. You'll stay when the Wind Piercer is going. The boss's stamina is gonna keep getting decreased, so you'll hit those brutal attacks like that. And so that's the rotation of the attack. Now let's go into my theory crafted build. Now. So, if you do not have... Alright, so what I have for the headpiece is the jar head. Now, you have to find all the jars, or actually up until this point where I'm at, 32 jars. Once you unlock 32 jars, you can get the orange border type jars, which gives you set item requirement decrease, which means you don't need all 5 or 6 pieces. You can rock... If it's a 5-piece set, you can rock 4 pieces plus the jar, and you'll gain all 5 pieces. And what it looks like is like right here. We have the Bloodthirsty Fiend Daul Wield, and I only have 1 equipped on it, but I get the 2 gear bonus, which is the Swift Attack damage increase by 10%. We are using Swift Attacks, and on top of that, we're using Whirlwind. So my build, what I went with, is 4-piece Beast Slayer. And plus I get 1 extra one because of the jar head. So we get 5 pieces altogether, so which will get frontal assault because we're not attacking from behind. We're attacking them head on. When you do a blowback vengeance, which is the parry and then the X for the light attack, you'll gain a 30% stamina damage increase. Then you'll also, at 4 pieces, you'll get 15% damage increase to Whirlwind. And then the 5th piece is damage increase for 15 seconds, max 20 stacks every time you use Whirlwind. So what that looks like is when you use Whirlwind, it's 3 hits for the first one. So you're going to keep getting 3 hits, and then down is another 4 hits. And then when you do the whole combo, you're going to gain, within like 3 combos, you'll gain full stacks, as you can see on the bottom. So you'll have an extra 20% damage increase. Whirlwind, but it'll always refresh every time you do Whirlwind, so you can have this 20% buff activated all the time for 15 seconds as long as you continue to attack with Whirlwind within those 15 seconds. You'll have that extra 20%. Now what I'm thinking is I might drop the 5th piece and go with an extra piece of Bloodthirsty Fiend gear set, because the 3rd piece is a Swift Attack Spirit Accumulation 0.04. I think that might be better because we'll always have our spirit up, and we could spam the Wind Piercer, we could spam Phantom Dance, we could spam all these attacks that cost spirit because we're accumulating so much of it. But I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about it. But right now, this is what it looks like. And let's go over the other accessories, which is the necklace and the ring. I only have 1 piece of the Strategist, which gives me a 50% chance to receive damage decrease by 30%. This is like 30% damage reduction 50% of the time. So it procs very, very often. And then for the ring, I went with the Defector ring. Because I like to bring guard more than I like to dodge, I went with the Defector's ring, which gives me the Brink Guard Spirit Accumulation by 0.15. I'm guessing that might be 15%. I'm not sure how all the numbers are calculated. But as we're Brink Guarding, we're gaining more Spirit. So, and then if I was to pair that with Swift Attack Spirit Accumulation, we'll have a lot of spirit accumulating along with the fight. So let's exit here, and I want to show you, if you're in the lower level, I'm going to show you what gear to use until you get to where I'm at, which when you get the Beast Slayer set. We'll go over here. Oh, my bad. I have to go to the human world. The world of the living.
Oh.
Alright. So, what I was using for the longest time is you can use, in the beginning, 4-piece Butcher, which will give you Swift Attack Damage Multiplier Increase, Attack Gain Chain Max 5 stacks, and Swift Attack Damage Increase. I don't use Flash Cutter and I don't use Howling Blade, so they're useless to me, but 4-piece Butcher in the early game is very good. You could also go with what I used a lot, was the Fallen Guardian set, and I used all 6 pieces for this. And this was when I was using Ruthless before I switched to Wind Piercer. At 2 pieces, you'll gain fire attack damage. 3 pieces, when enemies are aflamed, you're going to gain a 15% damage increase against them. When you activate Ruthless, damage decrease for 3 seconds. That pairs really well with your invulnerability for Ruthless. Then, well, actually, I'm not entirely sure with the damage decrease. Maybe it's damage decrease on yourself for 3 seconds and then it's gone. So that's fine. But again, the wording isn't very clear. But I wasn't too worried about the 4-piece. The 5 pieces, every time you bring guard, you're going to gain fire attribute on your weapon for 10 seconds. This is so good. Because every time you bring guard, you're gaining fire attribute on your weapon. You could also pair that with the fire enhancer to gain more, and then you could throw in these things that explode against them. So you could proc a bunch of fire each and every time. So I pretty much used the Fallen Guardian set, 6 pieces, for like the longest time until I saw the Beast Slayer, which was so godly, I think. And really quick, for the end, let's just go over my stats really quick. So I have about 4,000 health, 2,000 stamina, almost 700 attack damage, and then almost 2,500 defense. And if we go into the substats for the attributes, For the dual blades, I went damage multiplier increase, and swift attack damage. You want a bunch of different damage modifiers throughout your build. You don't want to stack all attack or all damage increase. You want other things to add to your attack. For the head, we went health, stamina, and defense. Also, what you could try doing is go for stamina damage increase. I'm gonna try that too, but I have like no lacrima anymore to re-roll my stats. But you know, I'm testing things out, working through it. But right now, max stamina, max health, max defense. Because you know, because we're wearing lightweight armor with the Beast Slayer, you don't want to get hit, and more than half of your health is chunked out. So that's why I went with this. We're gonna for the Beast Slayer chest, we went with max health, received damage decrease, and then defense. For the hands, we got damage multiplier increase, attack damage, and damage increase. For the legs, we went received damage decrease, max health, and defense. And then for the boots, stamina recovery, stamina damage increase, and received damage decrease. And then for the necklace, we went attack damage, received damage decrease, and then max health. And then for the ring, attack damage, defense, and damage increase. And then you can look at the right side here, all of my attribute info. almost 12% damage multiplier increase. 13.5% received damage decrease. So DR, 13.5% DR, and then on top of that, if they proc the 50% received damage decrease, I'll gain another 30% DR. Health recovery increases 26%, damage increase almost 25%. And then Whirlwind damage increase 15%, Swift attack damage 52%, which also applies to Whirlwind because it's a swift attack, and then swift attack damage increased by 10%, and then frontal assault damage increased by 10%. So that is the build, guys. Let me know what you think, and hey, any other suggestions, let me know. Help me build this out completely. But right now I'm at 105 doing, let's see, what part am I on? I don't, you know, you could cut the video now if you don't want to see spoilers, but I'm pretty sure the area that I'm at is like, I'm just probably quote-unquote under-leveled based on their gear, but I'm just smacking bosses left and right. And it's just a lot of fun using these dual blades. So yeah, 111. So I'm level 105 in a 111 area. So, and it's just phenomenal. I love this build so much. So that's the build, guys. Let me know what you think. Catch you on the next one.